Now, the caucus of elected Assembly Members Association of Ashanti Region has accused the former president, Mahama, of deception over his promise to pay them monthly salary if re-elected. The group accuses Mr. Mahama of inconsistency with the issue after refusing to sign a white paper that sought to implement this policy under his administration. Addressing a meeting with the Ghana Association of Assembly Members at his office last week, the former president pledged to design training programs to improve the capacity of Assembly members, as well as pay them monthly allowances to encourage them to perform their duties.
We've been trying to improve decentralization by always taking it to the next step. And so when I was president, we set up to review the whole decentralization process and bring it down to its logical conclusion. And I had the privilege of handing over the staff that we took from the civil service to the newly formed local government service, which since then has been doing very, very well. We also pushed to bring true decentralization to the departments that were intended to be decentralized, especially education and health. And so we passed the legislation that was necessary, and we had the political will to begin the implementation. Now, we all know the role Assembly members play. The Assembly member is in charge of an electoral area. And the Assemblyman's electoral area is the basic unit of our governance. And so there are 5,500 electoral areas, or so within the country. And every Assembly member has a number of communities within his electoral area. And so if you want somebody who has direct contact with the basic unit of our governance, then it's the Assembly member. I have been a member of parliament too before, and in my constituency I had like 26 electoral areas. But of course I can't be in those 26 electoral areas at the same time. But I have Assembly members who are in those 26 electoral areas. And so in the event that something happens, the first point of contact is the Assembly member. By the time you get to the MP, whatever has happened should either have been resolved or it might be too late to even deal with it. And we all know, like he said, the knock on the door, at 1 a.m. because a child is sick or because a mother is in labor. I mean, just anything. Somebody has had a snake bite. Yanko Assemblyman home. First point of call, Kokoko Assemblyman, snake bite. And then you have to, if you have some motorcycle or something, you have to bring it out, or if you have your old taxi, you have to put them in and take them to the nearest medical center or something. So we know the responsibility that Assembly members have. Health, education at the local level is your responsibility. Are the schools running properly? Do you have teachers to teach the children? All that is the responsibility of the Assembly member. And at the end of your term, your community will say, oh, we didn't have teachers, you didn't let us have teachers, so we don't want you again. Meanwhile, it's not like you are the appointing authority. They expect that you must use whatever influence and contacts you have to make sure that they have teachers. And so the responsibility on Assembly members is enormous. And the least that government can do is to help them to be able to do their jobs properly. And that is the commitment we have. And that's why I've talked about plenty issues that I'm happy that we could discuss.
Assembly members have often complained they struggle to execute their mandate because they are under-resourced. Though they agree a regular remuneration for them is long overdue, the 1,580 Assembly members vow to resist any attempt to exploit them. Spokesperson Nana Kofi Senya echoes the sentiment of his colleagues.
The former president is being too inconsistent in his message this time, because you're looking at the assembly system and the assembly members and how they are influential in their various electoral areas. He thought that maybe he could use the assembly members, in this time around to kind of win votes. That's why he's trying to induce the assembly members by going around and saying that he's going to pay them wages. Whilst we know for sure that in your 2012 manifesto, right, you promise that you're going to pay assembly members through the consolidated fund and then use common fund as well. But this time, he's talking differently. He doesn't even know where he's going to find the money. He said he will find money somewhere. And then if you listen to the video as well, he was trying to kind of allocate some duties to assembly members, why those duties have been assigned to the unit committees. Because the law says that the unit committees are responsible for deaf and deaf registrations. But if you listen to the former president, he was saying that he's now going to, give this assignment to the assembly members as a duty so that he can pay them. Where is he coming from? The man is indisciplined when it comes to, implementation of the law.
The group claims the Constitutional Review Committee in 2010 also proposed regular salary for assembly members, but government refused to grant approval. Immediate past presided member for Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly, Abraham Bwedi, says repeated letters on this issue never got the attention of the former president.
I think the Constitutional Review Committee 2010-2011 make recommendation to the president, the late President Mills, and that's white paper is on the table while the former president was in the office. So we are asking why did he sign that white paper, propose that they should pay assembly members. Then again, we wrote a lot of letters to the presidency, reminding the president about his manifesto that he promised 2012 that he will pay assembly members, but he didn't deliver it. And now there are additional assembly members. So we want to ask him a question. What deter him not to pay the assembly members as of that time? And now, what has he prepared to do? What are the bases? We want a report of 2012 to 2016. So we are trying to say maybe he lied to us and he's continuing to lie to us. He can't do it because he's speaking as if now that he's coming to power, but he was there before.
The group referred to NDC's 2012 manifesto, in which the party had indicated its government will pay assembly members, but it was never implemented. Ahinsan Estate Assembly member Nanaya Redo is convinced the latest promise by former President Mahama can only mean deception.
What I'm saying is that this is a political season. We know everybody is going to come out with a lot of promises, but we don't want politicians to take undue advantage of assembly members. We know our rights, and we will be happy if something is coming to cushion the work of the assembly members, but not this time that everybody is campaigning that they are going to promise us heaven and earth, that they are going to pay us. The question is, the sitting president and the former president, they have all been given the opportunity to serve the country, and assembly members were there.
Meanwhile, the group resolves to engage with members of the National Association of Local Authorities of Ghana, NALAG, and other stakeholders to push for remuneration for assembly members. Prince Apia reporting.